Hey
Hey,
everybody.
good morning, everyone. I'm Adam Keys, product manager at TestOut, and today we have the pleasure of joining live with Johnny Carrera in his classroom. He's an instructor at the Rackspace Open Cloud Academy. I guess it's just Cloud Academy now, right?
Yeah,
And
now it's just Cloud Academy. They changed it on us. So
I'm gonna turn my video off so you're not staring at me, staring at the screen, and pass it over to Johnny. And we're thrilled to have you, Johnny, and grateful that you're willing to show us your classroom and how you have it set up.
no problem. Hi everybody in the interwebs. Welcome to my classroom. I love Test Out. I'll do anything they ever ask me to do. I just love Test Out. My all the people there are the best of the best. If you're not using Test Out, you should be. I've been using it for a long time now, at least 12 years or more, and I love it. Super high success level with it. The best IT training software on the market. I don't care what anybody says, and I'm ready to fight somebody over that. So I'm ready to go. So a little bit about my background real quick. I have been in IT for 28 years. I've been doing IT for 28 years. I started my career in Austin, Texas for a company called National Instruments as an engineer. Actually, my background is in engineering. And I moved into IT kind of as a fluke. I was doing actually manufacturing engineering processes and that type of stuff. And then I moved back to San Antonio and I got a job with the Northside Independent School District as an admin doing upgrading our infrastructure to a more modern network. The networks at the school district at the time were closed networks and really, really horrible networks. And so we moved over to a more advanced network. And so anyway, I worked as an admin for about 5 or 6 years, and then I got lucky enough to be offered to teach a class at a school called Holmes High School. It all happened just by accident, and I was able to start an IT program there at Holmes High School. So Holmes High School is a Title I school. It's a real Title I school, by the way. Also, everyone is eating lunch for free, and it's got the neighborhood itself is it's a lower end in the economic scale, but the people are fantastic. So I taught there for 12 years as a high school IT teacher, and I got recruited to come to work for Rackspace as a trainer. And they kept on asking me for years and years. They would ask me to move over, and I moved over part time doing night classes for them at the beginning, and then they made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I moved over to Rackspace and their Cloud Academy about 5 years ago. So that's my background. I've been teaching for Rackspace about 5 times, although I do miss my kids at Holmes High School. They were the best of the best. They were great kids. Um, so the history of the academy. So I got some slides, some cards here, so some bullet points that I'll be talking about. So I work for the Open Cloud Academy. Actually, we changed our name to just Cloud Academy. So if you go to our website, you can go either way, Open Cloud Academy or Cloud Academy. So Rackspace is a company here in San Antonio. I don't know how many people have heard of Rackspace, but they're a cloud company, just like AWS or with Google, right? And but we have a different place in the market. We do a lot of support for big companies. So like Windows or Microsoft uses us for the supporting Azure. Um, Amazon uses us to support their managed systems. So Rackspace is a kind of a strange thing. We do offer cloud services like the big players, but we're not that big. And the way we kind of stay in the market is by offering services for big companies that don't want to offer services like that type of support. So the problem was here in San Antonio, where Rackspace started, there's not a lot of IT companies here, although that is changing. We're changing because of Rackspace is really making San Antonio get placed on the on the map with IT. But we had a real problem finding local talent to work for Rackspace doing network administration, system administration, and security. So they decided to open a school to train local people, right, to enter the IT field. So they again, I was recruited to come and help train for that. And so the way it works here is we have free classes. We offer free classes online. And so if you go to our website, you'll see like on our some of our pull down menus dates to get into our free classes. So if anybody wants to take a free class, we offer two free classes. One is IT Fundamentals, which is of course basic computer stuff. Now it doesn't train you for the certification itself. It's just kind of a prep to get into IT fundamentals and some information about IT fundamentals. So it's a very basic class. It's a week-long free class. And then we have another free class that is a networking class. It's a primer class that gets you ready for our full-blown classes that we have here at the Open Cloud Academy. So if anyone wants to sign up for some free classes, feel free to sign up. Tell your friends. We've taught people from all over the country, and you're more than welcome to sign up for those classes. And I teach those classes. They're week-long classes, and they're all day. They're from 8:30 to 4 o'clock. So it's a full week of being kind of thrown into the deep end. Okay. So that's the history of the school. We were started by Rackspace to help generate local talent, and we have generated a lot of local talent. Lots of people have come through this through our school, and we have hired many of them to work at Rackspace. But a lot of other employers have seen these graduates and have moved over and started hiring them for other companies, like USAA is here at San Antonio. So a lot of local companies will snatch up our students right away, because we feel, and I think it's not me just saying this, that our students have a higher skill level than most coming out of a lot of the schools here in San Antonio, because we have a lot of hands-on. So there we go. So that's the school. Most of the students were coming in are older, so we have a lot of older students that are trying to change careers. You know, Texas has a lot of oil companies, and that fracking is real popular here in South Texas. So a lot of times that is a very like roller coaster environment where the jobs are feast or famine. So a lot of those people that we get are actually people in the oil companies trying to get into changing their careers. So we get a lot of people from that industry. We're also a big military town, so we have a lot of people transitioning out of the military wanting to go into IT. So most of our students are probably the average age of 25 or older. They are people that are transitioning out of into a new career, and are looking for a way to get into it that is going to be the fastest way. So we are a pretty quick way to get into IT, and something that's very immersive. And that's what we are. We're a very immersive program. We immerse you into the program, and we do a lot of hands-on. We have a lot of labs that we have designed by Rackspace. So we kind of groom you to be a Racker. But if you don't go into Rackspace, it doesn't matter. So that's what we mostly our students are. Now we do get some very young students right out of high school, but that is not a majority of our students. We have a very small population right out of high school. Most of our population that come through our school are people that are transitioning to a new career. And we've had ages from 18 all the way to 70 years old. We had a 70-year-old gentleman come in who wanted to change careers at 70, which is, it's all cool. And he actually did very well. So there we go. So that's what the Academy is, right? Um, so that's a little bit about myself and a little bit about our students and our program. Again, we've been in operation for 6 years. So 7 years. So we've been in operation for 7 years. So that's how long the Open Cloud Academy or the Cloud Academy has been open. So let's talk about this webinar and how this kind of started. So the person I work with at TestOut is Rod. So we love Rod Davis. I love him. I can't give enough love out to Rod. I've been working with him for years, and he is the best. Everybody at TestOut is the best. I just right now, if you're not doing business with TestOut, you should. They're just the best. And I've been with Rod, and Rod and I were talking on the phone, and I told him that. So Rod called me to ask, how are you surviving this COVID change, or this COVID situation we're in. So this is a story. So back in March, right, we were about to start a brand new live class. And I mean, I was a week away from starting this full on, everybody in the building, everybody live class, right? And then this COVID hit, and then we just said, we can't have any more students here at the school, right? So I had 1 week to think of a way of how to deliver my class remotely, right? So 1 week. So me and my other teachers and staff got together, and we came up with a way of how we could deliver this class. But my goal was not to change any aspect of the delivery. All the hands-on, all the stuff that we did in the room, I didn't want to sacrifice any of it. So that was my goal, right? I didn't want to take my curriculum and change it in any way. So what I did is I designed a system so that I could still teach like as if I was in the room with the students, but the students were still going to able to access, right, all the features of our class. So what I have is a little other computer, right? I have another handheld computer, and what I'm going to do first is show you my setup. my setup I have for the delivery, right? You should have got a PDF about the equipment I'm using, but if you have any questions, please feel free to send a question. So I'm going to pick up another. So first, let me show you what I'm behind. So this is my screen, right? Above my screen is an Epson 1430 short throw projector that allows me to do a smart board. So this is a smart board that I use to do my lessons. That's not the right size. Let me change that real quick. So this whiteboard is a big piece of how I teach. I'm a big whiteboarder, right? So if I have, so I spend most of my day in front of this whiteboard, whiteboarding and giving lectures. So I don't lose any of how I teach, right? So I still teach with all my hands and my enthusiasm. I have a microphone that I use so I can move around and still communicate with the students, So this whiteboard is a really big piece of my delivery, but I have delivered the same course from home because we did have now. So the school I'm in right now is a new version of our school. We just moved into it last week, so we were transitioning from our old location to our new location during this whole COVID process. It's been just a crazy world over here for our school. So for a while I was teaching from home. So I did find a way to deliver this exact same course, was similar. It was the boot camp courses from home. And what I was using was another board. So I went and got myself a little one of those little Wacom tablets, right? And I would use this so I could draw on the screen. So you can, even though if you don't have one of these, you can still do a lot of what I'm doing with one of these little Wacom tablets. So that's what I was using to deliver from home for about a month. I was delivering classes at home using that little tablet and still able to draw because I'm really a big fan of like drawing things out and IP addresses on the board, and connecting to devices and connecting to routers and connected to the internet, and what's cool about this board is I can have multiple pages, I can change colors, and again I can deliver this way. So this is one of my favorite things is this board. So again, so the way I got the board on the screen is I have a separate stand. So let me show you this real quick. So I'm going to change over to my little portable camera here. Okay. And so can y'all see this okay? Is there a way someone can tell me everything looks okay?
It all looks okay.
Okay, good, cool. So I have a little tablet I'm holding. I guess you can see that. So this is my monitor that has my camera on it. This camera is on a little stand that is a swivel stand. It's a swivel stand, and you'll see why that's important in a few seconds. So that swivel stand is super important. Okay, I have a desk over here, a tall desk that has my little camera. So I went and bought myself this really inexpensive little camera, right? That is, I'm sure y'all have heard of Elmos. So it's like a cheap Elmo, right? Elmos are expensive. So this is it's called an InSwan. It was like 99 bucks, and it allows me to put things on my table, right? So I can do demos, right? So real quick before I forget, our students, we supply our students with a laptop and a monitor and a bag of tools. They also get a binder with material that I prep for the labs and other information in a binder that's full of stuff that I prep for them. And then a book. They get a book that we use in the class, a Network Plus book that we use in the class. So this class I'm teaching right now is a Network Plus class. If you didn't know that, I apologize, I didn't say that. So I'm teaching a Network Plus class right now. I hope I'm not giving anybody a seizure by moving this camera all over the place. Someone's gonna have a seizure on me. Anyway, so this is the laptop we give them. So I like to use the exact same equipment that my students are using. That way, when they talk about settings or things, we don't have a different laptop. Does that make sense? I think so. We give them this laptop. We don't give it to them. They check it out. We get it back. Even we're teaching people from Chicago, and we have a student from Houston, and we have students in LA. We ship them this equipment, and then they ship it back to us. So this laptop is the one that we give the students. It's the same one that I'm using, and they get this monitor, this exact same monitor, so I know how much screen space they have, so I can feel like so I know what they're going through. So they get this screen, they get this laptop, they get this bag of tools, because we build cables in the Network Plus class. I'm old school. I like to build cables. I think it's important to still build cables. A lot of teachers don't do that anymore. I think that's a mistake. So we send them home with a bag of stuff. They get a meter. They get they get a cable checker. They get a stripper. They get the crimpers. I give them a little bag of connectors. They get a bunch of wire, and then of course we build cables. And the way I do it is with my camera. So let me show you that real quick. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. So hold on while I share a screen. Let me see. So my screen 3. So I'm going to share my screen. So here's my little camera I use. And again, it's only 99 bucks. It was a deal, 99-buck camera, and it allows me to demonstrate building cables. And what's really cool is they can see me, right? They can see me, right? I'm over here, so I can swivel my camera around. So I'm talking to them, and then the camera is showing my hands so that we can still communicate, and I can demo making the cable. And it's been very successful. The students can build the cables. They show me the meter that they're checking, the little cable checker that we have in here. So we have a little cable checker in here, and they show me their output from the little checker, so I can verify that their cables are working right. So I use this for a lot of stuff. This little camera I love this little thing for 99 bucks because it allows me to move it around, and it's very portable. I can also kind of just point it toward me, and I can push a button, and it becomes another camera for me. I mean, it's just an amazing little camera for 99 bucks. It's InSwan. We got it from Amazon, so it's not a big deal. So that's my camera. Okay, so I'm going to show you some more stuff. So let me walk around real quick. Okay, so I'll get rid of this because that's just my camera. All right. So here is my setup. I have another little stand for my keyboard, and my mouse is over here, right? And my third monitor. So I have 3 monitors actually. So I have an extra monitor for my share. So this is my share monitor, so I can see what I'm sharing. This is my screen. I put the students so I can see my students. And then my laptop is just there to power everything up. I really don't use the laptop because the screen is a little bit too small. I'm getting too old. My eyes are kind of bad. So let me show you my room. So this is the room, okay? And let me do something real quick. I have a student on standby. So I have a student on standby. Let me call this student real quick. And because I want to show y'all something and how this works. So give me a second to call this student real quick. Give me a second. So I'm calling a student because I want to show you how she's sitting at home. And what we're doing is we're remoting into the computers. Hey, can you start typing? Okay. So our students are at home, and what we do is we use a software called TeamViewer. So we use TeamViewer on the computers in my room. So all these computers in my room are connected to our school network. And what the students do is they remote into the computers, and they're able to connect or send commands to our hardware. So this student right now is inside PuTTY. For those of you who know what PuTTY is, it's a software that we use to send commands to Angela, put in enable. Type in enable first. So this is our first day actually using this software. So the students are their very first experience, Cisco 3. And so the students are actually connecting. So I'm actually giving her how to run the command. So I'm seeing it on my screen. So if she gets stuck, I can actually help her by getting into the computer and running the commands and taking over the show running config. Show running config. There we go. So I see I'm helping her as she types, so I can help her see what she's doing, and she can run commands. She can run other things and do configuration. If she gets stuck, I can help her. So the way it works, that all our computers are actually tied to the table, and our tables have jacks that tie them into a room I'm about to show y'all. So these are the jacks that we connect the computers to. Okay. And then from these connections here, they go into my room with all our equipment. So if you can see that she is still typing here, she's doing some show commands, and I can see the output of her command. This is her little card, and it tells me what ports she's using. She's using ports 9 and 10. So she's actually typing. And what's really cool is, let me show you this real quick. So this little stand swivels, right? So I have a swivel stand. So I'm gonna swivel this around. Okay. So now I'm going to go on the other side. So this is me. So you can see me here in my room holding the little camera that I'm using to show you all this stuff with. And what's cool about this is I can still be in the classroom as the students are working on labs, and they can call me, say, Johnny, can you look at my lab? And I can run over to that computer, and they can see that I'm still in the room with them. And I can say, hey, everybody, I need y'all to, I can still communicate with the students, even if I'm not in the front of the room. I'm able to communicate, inside the room. So again, each student has a computer. I'm sorry, I'm going to give you all a seizure by moving this camera so much. I apologize. So I'll stop moving that. So each student has a computer that they log into remotely, and then they're able to connect inside the room, which takes them to my equipment. So let me show you where the equipment is. So I'm going to walk over there next. I apologize for moving that camera so much. You guys are going to have a seizure. So here is my room. So this room is right next to my room. So here is my room. I go into this other room, and this is where we keep all the racks of equipment. So this is where our racks are. Okay. So I have 4 racks, and in each rack we have our patch panels that are connecting to the desks, and then everybody gets a router and a switch, right? So each student gets their own individual router and a switch. We don't have to share any equipment here at the Cloud Academy. Everybody gets their own router and a switch. We also have firewalls and load balancers, so we teach those classes also. So firewall and load balancer classes. Rackspace does everything through the floor. So if you go to the back of the rack, you'll see that I have all my patch panels back here, and my cables are going to the floor. So we run everything to the floor. Now this whole setup is brand new. In fact, this is the very first day we're actually using this equipment. So you guys are actually seeing the very first day of us using this equipment. So if you can see that everybody gets their own equipment, I have little signs up here telling me who is connected where, so I can keep a track on where everybody's connected to these devices. So they're actually connecting to real hardware. So they're not having to do any type of simulation. It's not something that we have to worry about. We're doing full on hands-on labs. So Angela, thank you so much. So she's gone. That's good. Okie dokie. So this is my room with all the computers, and as you can see, all of them have little tags with their names. This particular class is only 17 people in this class, but that's okay. That's still a pretty decent class. We have a max size of 24, so hopefully soon we'll be back to our full size. So this is a back side of my setup. So you can see my swivel desk. I have another stand for my other device, and then I have my my workbench with all my tools and stuff that I need in case I need to do something on the workbench. So that is my main setup for delivery, so I can walk around and do the labs. Okay, so I'm going to put down this tablet, so I don't need it anymore. So that is my main setup for delivery. I stand here. I mostly teach here. Another thing I wanted to show y'all is my LMS. So we use Moodle for our LMS. So let me go there real quick. Let me see if I have too much stuff up here. Where are you at, Moodle? There it is right there. Oops, we do that again. Ah, Johnny Carrera, why am I? There we go, that's what's wrong. And so this is Moodle, our LMS that we use. You know, it's free, so it's all good. Oh, I should log in real quick. So we do our own Moodle management here. Me and my coworker Kobe Coleman is my coworker. We manage our Moodle server together, which is it's all good. It's free. Why am I not getting in? Oh, I changed my password. There we go. Oh, still, man, Johnny Carrera. It always happens when you're in front of a camera, right? That should do it. Yeah, there we go. So we offer several classes. We have a Linux class. We have a security class here at the Open Cloud Academy, which has been very successful. Our security class has been real popular. I teach a system administration class, which offers 2 certifications, Network Plus, and then the Linux Red Hat certification, the RHA the first certification they offer. So this is our LMS. All the students have 24 access to the LMS. They have 24-hour access to the room through remoting in and practicing their labs. And so this is how we deliver the course. I have a 5-week course, and the first week's all Network Plus. We use a piece of software called iSpring. I don't know if you ever heard of this iSpring. It's a PowerPoint add-on. that helps us create HTML5 presentations, so we can load them up to our LMS so they can be SCORM compliant. So if you haven't heard of iSpring, it's a company out of New York, I believe, and allows us to create our presentations and put them into our LMS, and that way we can don't have to give them PowerPoints, right? So they can just access the LMS. They can go into our PowerPoints, and they can access them anytime through the LMS. So there we go. This is my LMS, and again, this is just again using iSpring as the software that helps us get that in that format. Anyway, so let me take my cards because I have little point cards. I think I talked about that. I showed you my rack room. So could I do this from home? I have done it from home, right? Essentially, we're using Zoom I hope it's okay to mention that we're using Zoom. When I'm at home, I take advantage of, again, essentially the same setup, the same laptop, the same two screens. I do have, again, I don't have a whiteboard, so I do use my little Wacom tablet, which I like quite a bit, right? And now one thing I really like that I don't know how many people are using it is, so I was trying to find the best way to deliver this, my lectures, because I'm very animated. So I decided to use OneNote. So OneNote allows me to port all my PowerPoint files into OneNote. And what's cool about OneNote is it's very intuitive with drawing. So if you guys are looking for a really cool or piece of software that makes it very easy to like draw and stuff. In fact, I can plug this in and show you all this. I think it's really cool. You probably all going, well, Johnny, we all know about OneNote. You haven't joined OneNote, so I'm probably behind the curve. But I just started using it recently. So let me plug this in real quick so I can show you this. So I'm plugging in my little tablet. So what I did is I ported all my PowerPoints. I'm still here. I'm just plugging this in. I ported all PowerPoints to OneNote. And again, the reason why I really like OneNote is because it allows me to do this. So let me show you real quick. So I'm going to bring up OneNote. So give me 1 second to start it. Where's my mouse? There it is. So I'm going to bring up OneNote. Give me 2 seconds here. Oh, I forgot it's all apps. Give me a second to bring it up. Hope I'm doing okay, guys. People at Tesla are going, oh my God, Johnny's insane. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to bring up OneNote. And, oh, I'm not logged into it. Dang it. Well, anyway, I'm not logged into it. Let me see if I can log into it. Oh, anyway. Well, that went poorly. So sorry. That's what I get for doing something spontaneous. I should have practiced that. So anyway, OneNote allows me to bring up my PowerPoints and then use this tablet to write and use my space in a really, really cool way of drawing and putting my PowerPoints and zooming and unzooming, tying my little Elmo knockoff to it. It's really been a really cool experience using OneNote. Again, I was just trying to find a piece of software that allows me to draw and do all kinds of stuff, port in images, and OneNote really worked for me. I mean, you can take it or leave it if you think it's something you want to use, but I just found it to be a really useful tool, especially with the drawing aspect of it, because it allowed me to really let me see if I can find it. Give me a second to see what I have here. Oh, is this it? No, that's not it. Guys, I'm so sorry. I was spontaneously trying to open this up and it didn't work out. But just, it's what I used from at home. So give it a shot and see what you think. And let me see where I am. I think I'm pretty close to being done. My struggles. I'll tell you some of the struggles. Students not turning their cameras on. I don't allow that. There are no off cameras when I teach. I set that rule right away. I said, look, I don't care if you wake up with bed hair. I don't care if you're in your pajamas. I'm not wearing pants right now. Y'all don't know that. I'm just joking. I am wearing pants. But even if you're not wearing pants, I want to see your face. So that's one thing that was a struggle. When I first started doing this online, people would turn their cameras off. I was like, no, I got to see your faces. It's a personal thing. Another thing is I want some microphones on. Now, I tell people I don't want everyone's microphone on, but if you don't mind turning on your microphone, I need to hear the breathing. I need to hear that little noise in the background. If you have kids, that's totally cool with me. Let them scream in the background as long as it's not really, really loud where it disrupts the class. but I need some ambient noise. So that was a challenge for me because I really love being in front of a class, and I found it to be very difficult if I don't hear anything. So those are a couple of struggles that I had. But as far as delivery of the content and delivering the labs, we've been able to deliver the entire curriculum, hands-on labs, everything without deviating in any way because of how we set this up. So again, and of course I am lucky, I do have a lot of equipment, but I can see doing this in Packet Tracer and also of course Test Out, right? We could do Test Out labs together. We could do that all through Test Out, which I do use Test Out. Oh, let me show you. They wanted me to show you my agenda. So this is every week I have an agenda. So I'm a big fan of making sure my students know what they're about to see. So I have a weekly agenda that I put out the week before the weeks for the next week. So this is an example of my agenda. So this would be week one agenda. I color code information so that they know that it's going to be either book information or test out information. So I have different color codes. So I have it broken down by days, everything I'm going to cover that day, what chapters in the book this information references, and what labs and test out that they're going to have to do, and what chapters to cover. So this is also something that I use quite a bit. My agenda, I stay very strict to my agendas. I deviate very little from my agendas because I don't like to have the students not know where I'm going. I'm a big fan of making sure that they know exactly what's about to happen. I think it's a mistake when you don't run a class where you stay in some type of the students don't know what's happening. I think it just creates confusion. It creates people that are like they're like don't know what's happening, and it's a really the environment. I don't like it. I like my students to be totally informed about what's going to happen, how it's going to run, so that we have norms, right? And everything is that way. So I'm a big fan of agendas, and I follow them quite strictly for each week. So that's my agendas. So what else is here? I think that's it. I think that's it. So, Anna, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Fantastic. We've had some questions come in that we've been tracking. Justin, also feel free to jump in if I'm. We've had quite a few questions. To kick it
So,
off, one of the questions come through several times is just how do you utilize test out? Is it something you work on together in the classroom, or is it self-paced
yes.
learning on the side?
Okay, that's a fantastic question. So, so let's talk about how I have used test out. Okay, how I've used test out, because I think that's a better question. How have I used test out? Because I've used it in different ways depending on how long I have to teach, my duration, how long, So when I was a high school teacher, right, I had the whole school year, and test out, the way I used test out back then was two ways. One way is, so Holmes High School is again a Title I school, and a lot of my students were that I had were transient, and not that they moved around a lot, is that they were taken out of school because of for family reasons, right? So I had students who their father would be construction workers, and they would need the help, so they would take the student out to go work construction jobs, or they would be farm workers. They'd go out to pick certain vegetables during certain seasons, go get cabbage and stuff like that. So a student would come and say, "Hey, Mr. C, I have to go with my dad. We're going to go pick cabbage," or they say, "I'm helping," or something else, or they help with other children in the family. So I love those Holmes kids. They were incredibly hardworking kids. Just their work ethic is incredibly amazing. But I would use test out for those transient kids. So I'd tell them, okay, we're going to go over these chapters. Make sure you use test out. Go over these labs, so that way they didn't lose anything by missing those days. They would lose out. So I use test out for that reason. That was a big reason why I love test out, is because it kind of helped me level the playing field for those kids who had real family needs, so they could keep up with me. And a lot of them were extremely successful. I mean, test out is again the best. Another way I would use it, right, was in the classroom. So one of my biggest problems, and you guess you've already seen it, is I ramble. I am a rambler, right? So and also consistency of delivery is a problem with me. That's a personal thing, right? So I would have 7 periods, right? And I wanted a real consistent delivery of making sure I didn't miss something, or make sure I didn't forget something. Also, I wanted to cover a lot of material, within that time. So because so what I used to do at Holmes is I would test out the videos right? And I would show the video, but I wouldn't show it right just from start to finish. I would show the video, and I have a little mobile keyboard that I would walk around the class, right? So I would walk around the class with this little mobile keyboard that I still have. I still have it over here on the side, and I would stop the video, right? And I say, okay, did you hear what Rob Tracy just said? Did you see how he said that? You see what he just said? And did everybody catch that? He said this, and it's important that you hear that. And I would repeat it, and then I would draw something on the board, right? So I would show him, right? And then I'd play the video, and then I say, did you hear what he just said? I stop it. But I liked that aspect because it kept me very timed. It kept me my delivery very similar to all classes. And then when we had labs, we would do the demos together on the screen, right? Now, I didn't have this beautiful touchscreen I had at Holmes High School. I just had a regular projector, but I did have my whiteboards, right? So we would do our labs, the demo labs together. So I'd bring the lab on the screen. We would walk through the lab. I would show them, look, this is what's happening. This is why they're doing it. And then I would, because you know how they do a test out, they have the video, they have a demonstration of the lab, and then they have the lab. So the students would do, then they would let them loose on the lab. So they would do it. So we would do labs in class, or I would assign homework labs, but that was pretty rare because a lot of my students didn't have internet at home. So that was another issue. So I had a whole issue with internet at home. But we worked through it. We worked through it. The kids would go to McDonald's and they would be able to do their work at McDonald's. So, and things like that. So that's one way I would use it at Holmes High School, right? So I would assign homework at night for the labs. I would use it in the classroom for the videos that way. And then so here at the school, we use it more as support. So I assign labs, like tonight I will assign some labs that the student's going to do tonight at home, and I check their work. Tonight I'll go online to see who's working on stuff, and so they know through the agenda exactly what they have to do. And at the end of the week, I check for their work and I give grades. I do grade for their work. And then I use the test. So one of my favorite things about TestOut is the custom tests. So I've created these huge custom tests. So my test bank is quite large because I've been using it so long. And I have a lot of my own tests that I've written. Friends of mine that I've asked to write tests for me that are incredible. They've written tests for me. And then of course the TestOut tests, I incorporate their questions and their hands-on. So I use it in that way, mostly for the exams and the test prep within TestOut. So I love the custom exams, and the labs are more like homework because my class is only 5 weeks. So I have 5 weeks to get them Network Plus certified. Actually, it's 4 weeks. It's only 4 weeks. So from I have 4 weeks, and we test on the end of the 4th week. So because of that, TestOut is more of a support tool for the students here, so they can do the labs at home, do them over and over, and then of course the exams are a big part of it. So there you go.
Fantastic, thank you. There's a lot of questions about how you get the setup with the routers and switches and the separate networks. Do you have your own classroom network set up, or are the students able to remote into that campus network?
Okay, so let me draw it out for you, right? So this is how it works. So the computer is in my classroom. I don't like red. I don't know why I chose red. Let me go to another color. I'm a big black. I like the black. It's easier to see, in my opinion. All right, here we go. So the way it works is we have the student station inside the room, right? So this is the station here. This station has 2 network interface cards. One of them is the built-on network interface card, right? And then I bought these little USB network interface devices. So this is USB, and this one is the built-on to the computers in my room, right? So the way it works is this USB is actually connected to the school network, right? The school network, which is connected to the internet, okay? So the USB device is connected to our school network, which goes to the internet. The other device, the other network interface card, is connected to a jack, right? Which is on the tables, and on that jack are 2 ports. Okay, so there are 2 ports on a jack on the desks. So on my racks, right, I have a patch panel. So I'm just going to draw two jacks. So these 2 jacks are just straight through configuration. They're not simple straight through configuration. So from there, these 2 jacks, so let's say this is jack 1 and 2, they go to this patch panel, ports 1 and 2, right? And then inside this rack, I have a switch and I have a router that the students are going to use for their labs, right? So one of these ports is going to be an Ethernet port. So they're going to use that for an Ethernet connection to the devices. So like for instance, port 1 on this switch. So I would connect it to the switch port. The other connection is for a console port. So we use USB, little USB to RS-232, which I have right here. I have one here. So this is an USB to RS-232 cable that we come out of the back of the computer, and it goes into the other port. So this is a console connection. Okay, I'm spelling wrong. Okay, so a console connection. So that would be from the other port, and it doesn't matter which one I use because they're both just, I could use one for console and two for Ethernet, or two for, it doesn't matter because they're just straight through configuration. So then I would use this one for like the console connection to the switch. So this one would be like the Ethernet connection, and this would be the console connection, right? And then I could just move it from device to device. So I'm afraid I lose a lot of weight during the classes, right? Because I'm always running around, going to the control room, going to the computers. So I usually have to pack on some weight before every class. I like to gain about 10 pounds. I'm just joking. I just want to see any questions on that. So anyway, so that is how we connect to our racks. So the student is on the internet. So they have their laptop at home, right? They use TeamViewer. And the reason I went with TeamViewer is because it's free, right? It's free. TeamViewer is free. Now we also use Remote PC at our school, because TeamViewer has, I don't know if they have a Linux version. So we also remote into our Linux boxes here at the school for our Linux classes, but we use a Remote PC for that, which is very cool because they have a Linux version. But we use TeamViewer here because we use Windows in my class. And so the students remote into the computer from home using TeamViewer. Then they're here and they open PuTTY. They open PuTTY on the computers so that they can connect through the console port or through the telnet connections to the equipment. So they can, they feel like they're working on it live, because they are. I mean, they're remoting in this computer, they see it on the screen at home, and they're controlling it here. Another thing is we use Packet Tracer sometimes, not a lot, but we use Packet Tracer, and we run Packet Tracer on the local computers in my room. And the reason why we do this is because I want to be able to see them working, right? So they remote here, and I'm able to see them working in the room. And if they have problems, then they can call me over and I can help them in the room. If they were doing it on their local computers at home, I would have no way of seeing it. Another really cool thing that I love is that they can share their screen. So I'll give you an example. Let's say a student does a mistake on their configuration and they're having problems. And if I think that mistake is something that the whole class should see, I have them share their screen so the whole class can see their mistake. Even, I mean, of course, we're not making fun of them. I'm just trying to demo their mistake so I can show them, look, this is how I'm going to fix this mistake they made. And so the whole class can learn from it. So I'm thinking that even when we go live, when people are still inside the room with me, I'm still going to use Zoom in some way so I can share that stuff with the students. I think it's going to be something that I'm learning so much cool stuff about this remote delivery, and I'm kind of thinking I'm going to use it even if I'm in live situations. So that's it. So that's how we set up the room. Does that answer the question, I hope?
Yeah, that's perfect. And how do you get all of your students logged into TeamViewer at the same time? Is that easy or is it difficult?
So of course, with TeamViewer, you have a number and a password, and so we never shut the computers down, for one thing. So once they log in, they can stay connected as long as they want. So when we start class at 8:30, I tell the student, hey, everybody, log into the computers here. They log into the computers, and then they remote in and they start working. So we've been remoting in for a while. We've been remoting in for a while because we do other labs before we hit the real hardware labs. Today is the first real hardware lab, but we've been remoting and doing other things. So I just tell the students, hey, remote in, and I train them how to remote in. And and all that software comes pre-installed on the laptop. So we set all that up early. So we put the TeamViewer on, PuTTY, we put Wireshark because we do Wireshark labs. So we have it all pre-installed, so that there's not much they have to do other than just start the software and log in.
Perfect. And so for those who have asked the questions, TeamViewer for the students to log in, and then Zoom for the instruction portion of
That's right.
showing himself and sharing his screen.
That's right. So Zoom is just for the video aspect and sharing my screen, right? We use TeamViewer to log in. I even log in, like for instance, I'm logged into a computer right now in my room. So let me bring that up real quick. So this is a computer in my room. I also so I can demo it for the students. So what you're looking at on my shared screen right now is actually my connection to a switch in that control room. So I'm able to run commands from here, right? And I can show the students how I run the commands and my output from these commands, and they're going to see the same thing on their screen because we all have, it's a commonality, right? Everybody's running the same software, everybody's got the same equipment, so they don't have to, I don't have to guess what they're looking at because we're all in the same room together. So I even remote into a computer in my room so I can demo. So what you're seeing is a remote connection from my computer to a computer in my room in the room over there. It's in a, and that way we had the same feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And
Okay.
then there's a lot of questions that come up about security, and I think this doesn't have as much to do with your situation because of the students you're teaching currently, but in your previous teaching experience, how do you keep students remoting in from going on to things that they should not be going on to?
Well, okay. So that's a great question. I mean, I understand. I taught high school for 12 years, so I understand. So of course, when we remote in, right, they have a password. So all I have to do is close TeamViewer and reopen it, and it generates a new password. Does that make sense? So that session that student was using to get on the computer, right, is over because the password is going to change. So even if they try again, they're not going to be able to get in without the new password. So all I have to do is close TeamViewer and reopen TeamViewer, and then the new password is generated. And then when the new class comes in, I would give them the new passwords. So what I usually do is, again, my classes are no more than 20, 25 students, so it's kind of easy to tell everybody their passwords in the morning. So everybody, here's your new passwords, and I just go around the room. Here's your password. Here's your password, and then they log in with their new passwords. So again, so if I'm thinking about a high school class, the best way would be let them log into the room, do the session, and then make sure that the teacher closes TeamViewer. And if another class starts, reopen TeamViewer and then give them the new passwords. That is a lot of work, though. I have to admit. I mean, I used to have 100 and something students in a class, and it would be difficult. I mean, every class, here's your password, here's your password. So yeah, I can see that would be an issue. Now, remote PC has a different way. You have actual login and password. So you have a credential system. So that might be a better way to go is remote PC. And they do have a free version that you can have up to a certain amount of students and use their free version, and then they have a login account. So maybe that would be a better way because then they would be authenticated during that connection, and then if another student came and used that computer, they'd have to authenticate for that connection. So that might be another way to go. But again, you have to be very vigilant. You have to watch them. You have to watch them while they're in the classroom using the computers, and that's why I turn them all around toward me. If you notice, all my computers are turned toward me. No, that wouldn't be normal because they would be the other way, so they would be facing the students. But right here, there's facing me, so I can watch them.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I know, so this is Johnny's lunch break. He does have classes going on today, so I know we're not going to be able to get to all of your questions. I sent in a chat, don't know if you received it, but if you still have questions you want answered, send them to me at
Hold on.
akeys@testout.com.
Say it one more time.
Akeys, akeys@testout.com. I'm happy to help track down the answer, to send a list over to Johnny when he has a free moment to get a quick insight. The last little question here, because I've had it multiple times, do you know what headset you have on? Because everyone says your audio is fantastic.
Well, I appreciate that. It's a Jabra. Let me show you real quick. That's them. You see that?
Jabra.
Jabra. Jabra. I love this thing. It lasts all day. It's a little. You can go either fire, or you can do Bluetooth or USB. It's got a USB dongle, and it doesn't sound great as far as like quality, but it's super clear, right? Isn't that weird? They're super clear headphones as far as my voice,
Oh
and
yeah.
I agree, and I like them quite a bit, and they're real comfortable. They're real light, and they have a super long range. I can go fairly far and walk around that, and that's why I like because I can do this. I can do this because I'm ADD. I'm hyperactive. So I teach this way, and I use my hands a lot, and these headphones allow me to do that. So yeah.
And all for those curious about the model number, I'll look it up and try to put that on the equipment list
Yeah,
that we're going to
I
send
can look
out.
that up. I'm not sure what the model is, but I can get it. I
Okay.
get them on Amazon. So
And we have had several questions come through just asking about certain test out things and what if you can't get the hardware. Test out is designed to function without having the hardware, but the
yes,
setup that Johnny has that he's working with is just so unique and so cool in my opinion that we wanted to show this. We understand not everybody will have the funding and the ability to do it, but you can slim it down. I mean, you can, if the student's working on a Chromebook or a less advanced PC, you can still do TeamViewer. You can find these refurbished switches and routers online for $50 a
yes.
piece.
So
And
he's
so you
right.
can slim this down.
I had very little funding at Holmes High School when I first started there, and everything was donated. I got switches and routers that were older, donated. I found some companies locally who did used equipment, so I got them pretty cheap. And then, and so, I mean, you don't have to have my setup. You can just put the routers and switches right next to the computer, right? Just mount it, just put them on the desks, and that's what I used to do. Put them on the desks. It's important to have two different interfaces, though. You need one interface to go for the school network, and then a separate interface that's going to connect to the device. So those little USB Ethernet devices are really cool. You get them on Amazon super cheap, and they're all the same. Just get whatever brand is the cheapest, because that's what we did. And they allow you to have two interface cards, and that way you don't have to lose connection to the internet, and you can still have a connection to the device. And then of course the USB console cables are super. Get them on Amazon too, super cheap. And so that's how we make all our connections. And you can, again, you can put the racks around the tables, and it would be this. You don't have to have this fancy other room with all this, because we didn't used to have this. This is my new classroom. I designed this classroom myself with all the table connections and the separate room for the equipment, so it's not so loud in here, because that equipment gets pretty loud. So I wanted it in a separate room. And what's really cool is that room is shared with another classroom. So I'm going to pick this up real quick. If you notice, there's a door there. So let me walk real quick over here. So this door actually opens up to another classroom. So it's dark. I had the lights off. So this classroom actually has the same setup to these same racks. They just have a different patch base. If you notice here, it says Lab 1 and Lab 2. So my room is Lab 1, this is Lab 2, and so we can both share the equipment between two classrooms. That way we don't have to have the same setup. Does that make sense? So they can be teaching, hitting the equipment, and I can be teaching, hitting the equipment, and we just have to rewire a few things to make it work. That's very cool.
Perfect. All right. Well, I just heard word from someone else at Test Out that if you are curious about Johnny and his Holmes High School experience, we do have a previous webinar he's done with us on Holmes High School on YouTube. We'll have to track down the specific link to that. But we do have a Test Out YouTube channel that has all of our previous webinars posted, and you can search through there on there's a knowledge base, and we also have a lot of other resources and knowledge base for Test Out online to search through these topics. Again, Johnny, he's got a class today, so we can't hold him up all day, but we really, really appreciate your time, Johnny, and all of the insight you've given us. Fantastic webinar, really great setup, and I think it's something that will help a lot of people as they look to provide hands-on remote situations such as you have done. So
I hope
thank you
so.
again.
Yeah, and we didn't spend a lot of money for the actual devices. So the stand was $45, the camera was $100. This tablet I got it used on eBay for like $25. This little Wacom, you buy them. So really, it can be done. It's just got to be creative.
Yep. And then a reminder for everybody, there will be a webinar that pops up in a browser screen as soon as I close this one out. So we appreciate any answers and feedback that you have there on the webinar. Again, Johnny, very grateful for everything you've done and look
Right.
forward to speaking with you again soon and learning more of
Yeah.
what you've done there.
All right, Test Out. Love all you guys. Know everybody. Take care, Rod. You're the best. Okay, take care.
Thank you.